Let's switch back to the camera. What's good, my guys? Design Syndrome here. How y'all doing? Let me check my light. It's a bit cool. Let me switch this for a second. I don't know if it's gonna connect. My key light was doing some weird shit. Oh, let me get rid of the music also. How y'all doing, my guys? There, let me check. Sorry, need to check my light a little bit. There, I think it's good. Like that. How you doing, my guys? Design Syndrome here. Thanks for joining me again in one of the Design Dojo streams. It's been a while since we did one. It's a couple of weeks now because I was trying to test out how it would be if I gave the assignment for the want to do it bi-weekly, you know, so I give in 1 week, I give the assignment, and maybe on a stream I explain how I do it, and then I give you a week and a half and a bit more time, so you got more time to really prepare it, you know what I mean? And then we do the feedback stream the next week, right? So that would make the assignments be like bi-weekly, and I think it could work a bit better, I feel, so you get more out of the exercises and get a bit more time to play with them, and maybe off the bat you really understand them a bit better, because I would be jumping off with a stream like explaining the exercise, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that could work a bit better. But yeah, tell me how you're doing, guys. Were you able to do something for this assignment? I already selected a few that we're gonna be taking a look at. The previous assignment was the typographic sketch. So yeah, let me turn down the ISO of the camera a little bit. Yeah, that's better. So yeah. Let me do for the ones that don't know, this is maybe you're just joining in, this is a Design Dojo stream, which is a space on my Discord channel in which I give bi-weekly now graphic design assignments for us to hone our graphic design skills together. And yeah, like I was saying before, I'm just testing out how it would be to do them bi-weekly. So 1 week I explain, I make my piece, and then you have a week and a bit more to do your piece, and then I do like the feedback on the other week, you know what I mean? So it will be actively like 2 weeks to make the assignment. So I think you will get a bit more out of each one. I think it could make it better, you know, for each exercise. But yeah, this past week exercise was the typographic type collage, which is a really nice exercise to really get to play with typography in a way that's a bit more unstructured, you know, away from the computer, that if you're not really like you know what you're doing with the PC, and you get like really like fast and really like intuitive with it, then it can sort you, maybe trap you a little bit, you know what I mean? And then with working with hands and fingers, with scissor and tape and all of that, you can be a lot faster and much more intuitive with your type composition. And I already left you on the assignment 18 of the Design Dojo, on the Design Dojo briefs. I'm gonna show you. Let me. Like if you go to the dojo and you go to the dojo briefs, like here, which is the 18, assignment 18, I left you like this, the typographic toolkit that you can download, which is already pre-arranged typographic layouts that you can just print, and from there you can cut them and match them, you know what I mean? Like get really creative with those. Those are actually the ones that I used on my uni days. Those are typographic, like little typographic arrangements that I did, and I also took them from posters and books and whatever. So we just cut them out, you know. If you go to look at the previous stream, I did it live for my pieces. I did a few, I think I did 6 or something like that. And yeah, the goal of the assignment was to try to you need to make a bunch, you know, you need to make a bunch in a pretty big size so you can get a better feel for the typography and the different weights, you know what I mean? Sometimes when you're working in such a compressed like size, if you're doing it really small, it's really hard to get that separation between the bigger parts of your composition and the smaller ones that allow it to have that more depth, you know. So working big is a really nice way of nailing down that hierarchy, you know what I mean? It's something that you can get really granular, and maybe you start cutting things really small and you get to make those little nice details, right? And yeah, let's just take a look at what your guys were doing. Oh, but before I want to show you something, guys. Do you know I'm working with the guys from One of Zero, Canadian brand? They are making, but I mean, we are designing a collaboration. It's gonna be a set of keycap sets and a set of desk pads that are gonna be Design Syndrome branded alongside with One of Zero. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's turning out amazing. Let me show you a bit of it. Let me show you a bit of it. They're saying, what is a good idea for the start of a final uni project? It's hard thinking of an idea for it. Okay, I'll talk about that in a bit. What's the exercise? What's the brief of the final for uni? Let me go to show you this. Here we are. This is one of the keycap sets that I'm working on. This is gonna be called the Katana set, and I'm really designing it for, let me shrink this, like that. This set is gonna have the kana also for Japanese layout for the keyboard. I'm actually really trying to make it work so it's functional also in Japanese, because they have a few more keys that are a bit different. It's not one-to-one, so I really want to make the modifiers so they really work. They have a bit more modifiers to switch between different styles of Japanese writing that I don't think I saw other. I saw other sets that had the Japanese symbols for aesthetics reasons. And they look cool, but I don't know if they really work. You know, they need to have these modifiers. So I'm trying to see how I can lay them out so it actually works, you know. It's gonna be a really cool set. And I'm actually gonna add also the icons for the shortcuts in Photoshop. So that could be really great for designers. So this is a set. This is actually, in this set, I made the set that I would like to have on my keyboard, you know what I mean? And yeah, this is one that I'm really proud of. And when you see the desk pads, it's gonna be crazy. And this is the other set. In this set, actually, I wasn't feeling this set as much. Actually, the guys from One of Zero, this was the set that they liked the most, but in its previous state. Like right now, I made some modifications to it, but I really wanted to still be Design Syndrome. You know, you see it has the texture, it's gritty, but I wanted to give it like a lighter feel, you know what I mean? For those that maybe don't have a keycap set, that maybe don't want a keycap set that's really dark, you know, maybe they want something more vibrant and colorful. So this set's for that in mind, and I'm actually really liking it how it's turning out, you know, with the texture and the little icons for accents, you know what I mean? And you can also like relate them to the other modifier keys, you know what I mean? So this could be like the menu, the function key. Here are some more abstract one that you can use for other kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really liking how they're looking. I'm gonna let you all know through my Instagram when they're about to be out, so you can get them. But yeah, they are looking amazing. And right now I'm waiting for samples to get to me so I can show you those also in a video. But yeah, these are looking really great. These are looking great. What is bro saying? Oh, sorry, I didn't have the chat here. My bad. Keycap looks amazing. I'm doing a graphic design, and it's where you create an outcome of a question you answer. For example, like reimagining emotional expression through visual culture. So that's the because bro was asking, what's a good idea for a start of a final uni project? It's hard thinking of an idea. Yeah, thinking of a good idea is really hard, but I'm not sure I'm getting the assignment. It's where you create an outcome for a question you answer. For example, like reimagining emotional expression through visual culture. But what's the deliverables? What do you need to make? It's a system of pieces. It's like a set of posters. It's like a visual identity for some sort of brand that needs to align with that. Or what is the goal of the exercise, you know? That's really great. But yeah, let's get into Photoshop. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. So here, I already set up something so we don't lose that much time with this. I think I can do this and put the layers. Now let's do it like this. Yeah, here we have, this was a pretty hard exercise to get to do. I'm really happy that some of y'all like really took the time to make a lot of pieces, because this is an exercise that you need to make a lot of pieces to really get the benefit out of it. You know what I mean? Because at first you are a bit clunky, you're a bit like not so like docile with the elements. But when you do 2 or 3 of these compositions, you really start to free yourself and you sort of get into that flow state, you know, of the collage. And it's really important to really sit there and be able to get into the trance, you know. It's almost like you get into this meditative state, and you have to churn out a lot of this, you know. You put out some music and you do a lot. I guarantee you, if you do 100 of these, it will become different, you know. And something that I said in the past stream is that when you're jumping off of typographic arrangements that maybe other did, not necessarily you did it, right? So you take from samples. It's like sampling it's like house music became a thing, you know. They were sampling music from others and mashing the arrangements. So the work that's placed already in those vinyls, in those songs, right? You are kind of reframing it into another piece, but that fragment already has a lot of work into it, right? You're sort of claiming it for another thing, right? And once you do that with typography, you're sort of absorbing the things that you are doing here. For example, here the word words, like this works, you know. Maybe the S, it's a bit like the kerning is fucked up, but it's something about the way these typographies kind of go well together that maybe you don't pick them yourself. You just grabbed what you had at hand, you know, but now you kind of did pick them, you know what I mean? Like you did place them there, and it does work, you know. So then when you go choose fonts, your brain kind of goes back to what you already did in the collage, you know what I mean? So sort of that gets recalled, you know, when you're working from scratch, or at least that's what happened to me, and I can tell that it did, you know what I mean? Because in my own work, I resort to this kind of, if you see my work, like my posters are a bit more graphic, maybe not so much typographical, but they have this kind of really stratified like hierarchies, you know, something really big with text, with something really small, little details. Like it's a bit repetitive in that sense, you know, but this is where it came from, you know. So there's a lot of way of resolving this, of course. But let's see what my guy was doing again, because I'm interested in what his exercise was. So I need to make anything. It could be a visual identity, a sign, a presentation of what I've answered, more of a physical show. I wanted to show how you can feel connected to something you have never seen or never been to. For example, I'm part South African, yet never been there and still feel connected to it. What outcomes would you create for this concept? That's interesting. You know what it makes me feel? The way we get sort of connected with movies. Like you see a movie and there's something really deep within you that maybe connects with that, and you're not that, you know what I mean? This is the same with sort of mythology, like these sort of stories that get repeated and they speak about us in a way that's more to the core. That's why we feel connected to them in some way, I feel like. So I feel like myths could be a way of telling that, you know what I mean? Like a story. Maybe a scene in which you tell a story could provide a concept for that, you know, but maybe the scene, it's talking about like a myth, you know, like you invent like some sort of mythological being or mythological sort of inspired system of graphic that links to that feeling of something that you didn't necessarily live for, but still speaks to you in some way, you know? Like, I don't know, I can think about The Matrix, I can think about action movies, like why do we like violence so much, you know what I mean? Like these kinds of things I feel like could be explored in some way, which could have like a connection with what you're trying to say. I'm thinking. I really like thinking about these kind of things. It's really fun because then it's really hard to connect it with, okay, you have the idea and what do I do graphically, which would make sense, you know, that's the hardest part. Now you got me thinking, fuck. Well, we gotta get back to this. I assure you when we're working on this, something might arise, you know. I remember I had this teacher that always told us that like thinking on an idea for something, it hardly or it rarely comes to you when you're thinking, right? When you're like this, like thinking of shit, like it usually doesn't come to you like that. It usually, he said something like lightning strikes when you're working, right? So there is something about motion that makes you know, it's like a fluid in your head that when you're static, like it doesn't move, but you need to move the flow, move the liquid inside your head so it turns and new ideas come and maybe they get mixed in a certain way. It's kind of abstract, but I felt and I can tell you it is like that, you know what I mean? Even getting out with friends, maybe someone will say something and someone will make a joke, or you'll see a menu and a word of the menu at the same time that your friend was making a joke about whatever will make your neurons go, you know, and the idea will pop, you know. It's a mix between thinking, but at the same time trying to experience what your life is while paying attention, you know? Yeah. It's maybe a bit played out, the mythology part, but it's a nice like idea, you know, this idea that there are certain tales that are like older than us, you know, and that you could link it with this idea of not experiencing something yet having the interest or the connection to it, you know, because you're human, something along those lines. But yeah, for sure it needs a bit more work, but yeah, you're welcome, my guy, you know what I mean? But yeah, we could do an exercise, something like that. But that should be like next year. I think I'm gonna restructure the Design Dojo a little bit. I want to maybe restructure it a little bit, but we're gonna do all the morphology, typographic, all the hierarchy, composition stuff in the beginning, and then as the years goes by, we're gonna get into the more conceptual stuff by the end. But I would really love to sort of structure something in which you have to make like a big project at the end. You know what I mean? It would be cool, but I'm trying to wrestle with the idea that it's a lot of work, and I don't know if everyone's gonna commit, you know what I mean? And I really don't want to charge for the Design Dojo. As a sole graphic designer, do you consider yourself a creative director to your own work? For sure, 100%. Like if you are doing something, you are creatively directing it. Like that's what it is, you know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. I mean, Design Syndrome, my brand or what I do, it's heavily creatively directed, like from the beginning. Like there is some sort of ideas that govern like everything. Some are more conscious than others for sure, and as the years have gone by, I've tried to structure it, at least in my mind, in a way that makes sense. That's when the figure of the design ninja sort of arose. Like I dig that, like in a sense of aesthetics, but there is an idea to the ninja, you know, and what does it mean to be a design ninja? And that's if you go to the blog, there is one post that's the difference between a ninja and a samurai, and there I go a bit more into explaining what it is for me, you know what I mean, and what does it mean like for me and for the brand to inhabit that like aesthetic space, you know. For example, I love doing stuff like this, you know, in which we are sort of discussing things about design. I'm a guy that I really like philosophy. Just now I'm here, Genealogy of Morals by Nietzsche. There's are things that interest me, but I always tend to gravitate to a really dark place just by the way that I am. I don't know, and that aesthetically like touches my work for sure, you know. And in the Design Dojo there is something of this, you know, of being like a place and you can focus your work, but you're sort of also a bit retracted, you know what I mean, a place where you go to isolate, you know. How do you write down the idea to a specific aesthetic? I don't know. How do you write down the idea to a specific aesthetic? Do you mean like how from one idea you go to an aesthetic? I don't think there is a linear path there. Like you can give me an idea and I maybe will resolve it in one way, and another designer will resolve it in another way. For sure, there are ideas that are better suited for certain kinds of visual tastes. But I feel that your idea is like your question is maybe asking like if there is a method to that, and I don't think there really is. I think it's nice to be able to embrace in the ways in which you think about stuff and embrace those and trust that your personal intuition for those ideas, and at the same time trying to recognize when you yourself like always resort to the same trick for everything, then maybe it's something that you need to pay attention, right? Because there is one thing of like finding the aesthetic for an idea and you say, oh, I'm really good at this, and actually being that the best vehicle to your idea, you know what I mean? Like I'm really good at doing like darker stuff, let's say, or things that are a bit more rugged, a bit more grungier, you know what I mean? A bit grungier, a bit more gnarly. So some ideas work on that, but then a different thing is trying to push every idea through that hole, you know what I mean? Trying to make everything that because you can't make anything else, you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like for that there is a fine dance, but you need to make a lot of work and at the same time be mindful of where you gravitate to, you know what I mean, and pay attention to the work that you do and be mindful of those things, right? To start to recognize it, right? Because otherwise you start to get like into the style trap, you know what I mean? Everybody like always says like, how do you find your style? And I feel your style, it's something that will find you, you know? It's something that you don't look for it, but you find it, you know? I remember a Spanish designer that I went to a talk said that because he had like a really playful like young, almost childlike style, you know, very caricaturesque, and he said something along those lines, you know what I mean? Like, style is not something that you actively go looking, right? You don't make your style. Your style will arise as you make more work, and the ways in which you resolve certain issues, that's your style. You know what I mean? Like, I remember before doing graphic design, I always studied graphic design, but at a certain point I was really interested in illustration, and I want to do like I want to illustrate comic stuff. So I was a lot into fine art. I used to paint really well. Now, every time I try to go back into drawing or something like that, I'm not as good. You need to be on the ball with that. But I remember talking about this with one of my teachers, but from art school. This is different from design. This is another school that I went to, and there was always this question, like, how do I find my style? How do I find my style? And you sort of try to look at the masters and the people you like their work, and maybe you study them, right? And you start to realize that most of their characteristics things came from the way they avoided their issues, you know? So there is this guy, from, Mike Mignola, for example, terrific artist. He actually composes a lot like a graphic designer. Let me show you a bit of his work. Mike Mignola, he did Hellboy. Let me check. This is Mike Mignola. Oh, nice quality. Fuck, for fuck's sake. Let me... Yo, why is the quality so ass? You see, he composes a lot like a graphic designer. He has this really like graphic way of drawing with shapes and the hierarchies of its work. It's really alike. And I think he actually studied graphic design. But the way he do noses, I remember that the thing that I took from Mignola is that how he does noses. You can see the nose. It's this like W, like a W is like this little M, like he does like tick 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 tick, and that's all of his noses he does like that. You know, that's a bit more drawn out, but. And yeah, he maybe wasn't really great at making noses, so his like minimalistic nose became like the signature thing that make all his faces. You know, here also like this little tick for the nose. But in this drawing also, like you can see how he blocks the scene is really like illustrative, and at the same time it has like a lot of dynamism. I don't know if I can find some of his like the pages. Let me see. Like a Mike Mignola spread. Like, look at this spread. This is from Mike Mignola, like comic book. Like, look at this. You know, it's not like a traditional like Alex Ross or someone like that. That's really like picturesque. This is more composed in a more graphic way, you know. Yeah, if you can get a Mignola. Like, I have a bunch of Mignola. I was looking for it online, but I haven't right here. Like, you see the spread? It's really like really well composed, and it's composed in a really like graphic like way, you know. Like look at this, like it has like a like the rhythm, you see, like one image alone, and then you have this the full comic spread in the other. Yeah, Mike Mignola is goated. Look at this. You see, this is graphic design, you know what I mean? And this is his doing. This is not like Dark Horse, like the studio. And here I have, these are older works from him, but this is from, I think he did a Batman. I really liked his Hellboy series. I'm looking for one of the Batman. Here. This one is crazy. You can see it's not like a normal comic, right? It's really shapes with values, you know? It's not like really like heavily detailed. It's just really well composed. Like this is something like Caroline Dietel would do, you know what I mean? Like look at this one. No, sorry, this one. You see how the cape is straight down, like almost like a phantom or something like that. I don't see that in any other, like how he blocks the color you see in this one, sorry, in this one. Everything is really minimalistic. Like what the fuck? Look at this. Oh, this gives me a lot of, like I want to draw, you know. But to draw like this is the thing with Mignola. Like you see his work and you think like, oh, it's easy, you know. Like it's just shapes. Like you make something with the contrasting background and it is what it is. But to get to that degree of synthesis, it takes a lot of work, you know. I don't know if I was talking about that at the beginning, but hey. Sorry, what was my guy saying? Because as a designer, your taste is always evolving. So how did you decide on the idea of a ninja as an element to your brand? Because I like the aesthetic of it and because it conceptually fit the idea. Like, I don't want to get into it like super deeply, but on a nutshell, the idea of the design ninja is the idea of the generalist, you know. Like a ninja is someone that's supple and can adapt and can move and can use a lot of tools. You know how ninjas they use like kunais and they use smoke bombs and they use the grappling hooks and they use a lot of tools to serve whatever the idea or the purpose is that they need to accomplish. You know what I mean? And in the blog post, I think I contraposed it to the samurai because the samurai sort of represents this idea of total devotion and perfection to the craft, you know? And that has value also, but it's like a different path, you know what I mean? But I mean, I guess if you go into the ninja also, like if you study the history, they were also perfectionists, you know what I mean? They were crazy. It's just that it's a nice compromise, like you make like to be performatic about the idea, because the ninja sort of fits the universe, like the aesthetic, but also sort of conceptually also fits, you know what I mean? It's not that everything needs to be perfectly thought out and perfectly aligning, you know what I mean? The ninjas were just the samurais. They were fucking crazy and they were devoted to the perfection of their craft of spying and all of that, you know. But for the purpose of this, it works as a vehicle for the idea. So that's where your taste and your ability to separate what's valuable and what's not comes into play, you know. But for that, yeah, you just need to see a lot of work, watch a lot of movies, play a lot of video games, try to read as much as you can the things that you are interested in, you know. So then you can articulate this, you know what I mean? Because I can have an idea of, ooh, I like ninjas, you know what I mean? They are cool. But if you can't articulate why, and you can make it into an idea and extract something from it, and you do that with words, like that's the thing. Maybe you don't have enough ideas because you don't know as much words, you know what I mean? That could be a thing also. I don't know when it was that I read this, like, I don't know if this is true or if I'm gonna butcher something, but I remember, I don't know when it was that I read, I don't know if this is true because it's really colonialist take, but it was something to the effect of when Aborigines or people that were local to a particular part of the land, they saw a boat, right? They were seeing a ship that was on the horizon, and maybe they didn't know what it was. It was just there, and they didn't make much of it, right? But once the ship came, oh no, I don't know. I was about to say some bullshit. It wasn't like that. I can't remember exactly the thing. Oh, I have another example. You know when you learn a new word and all of a sudden you start seeing that everywhere, right? Or like you learn a new word, for example, for something, and then all of a sudden in every video you were watching, somebody says it, right? Or in a conversation, somebody also throws it, and it was something that was really into your world, but you never saw it because you didn't have the word for it, right? So you didn't register it, or you know what I mean? It flew under your radar. So it's something like that. And for ideas can happen also, you know, like if you don't have the words for it, you can give it like a shape, you know, you can't summon it, you know. That's why I really like in fantasy, you know, in video games, there is something, oh, you need to know the word, you need to know the spell, right? This is kind of the same, right? It's a nice little like way of romanticizing language, you know what I mean? It's kind of magic, right? With ideas, it's the same. You need to know the words to summon the thing, you know? So I think that's what's nice about like reading. And not just reading, I don't want to be like elitist about reading, you know, but everything. Looking movies and paying attention, playing video games and paying attention. Because also in reading, you can be reading and not really paying attention. I do that for sure, you know what I mean? You're just like scrolling your eyes through the pages because you're thinking about something else. You're thinking about, oh, I need to finish the book, you know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah. But yeah, real nice to revisit like Mignola's work. Let's go back to the thing. If you have another question, my guys, let me know. So, okay, we have a few works here that are really nice. Again, looking at all the pieces like so, it's really cool. This is mine. I edited heavily, like in Photoshop, like this is something I told you to do, but these ones are nice. Yeah. Because at this point, sorry guys, because at this point you must have so many references and ideas, but how you do decide on what is good reference and what do you pull your references from now? I still use Pinterest. Arena is really good to pull out references. Are.na. Arena is really cool for references. Also, Pinterest is a bit overused, but I think it's nice to, when you look at references, go for a vibe, right? Go for an idea, things that spark an idea and a vibe rather than because I used to make this mistake a lot when making mood boards. I made mood boards of the graphic resolution of the work that I was about to do, right? So it's almost like you make what you're about to copy, you know what I mean? You're pulling out the pieces that sort of you or the client see that the work is will look as, right? And the problem with that is that you end up copying the work. You end up copying it, right? So rather than that, I think it's nice to come up with vibes, you know what I mean? Like maybe pull up like this is something that I saw on a guy that was talking about this. He was an art director. I haven't done this. I should pull up I should share with you some mood boards. It really, mood boards is something that I really started paying attention to do like in the last couple of years. Before, I kid you not, I was the one that after the call just gets to work with no nothing, you know. It's super guerrilla warfare, you know. That's a no-go. Like, don't do that. Like, develop like an idea and a mood board and a sort of a direction beforehand, but try to think of that like the mood board should be like something that you go to check for the vibe and the overall direction in terms of like the mood, you know, how does it feel, how does it sound, how and then it could be they can have some graphic resolution for you to take inspiration to, but I mean try to tackle all the fronts, you know, like concept. It could have a poem, a movie, color palettes, photos. Next week, mood boards. That could be really hard. That's actually a really nice exercise. That's actually, oh, let me write it down, my guy. That's nice. That's nice. Mood board exercise. Let me write it down. I hadn't thought of that. One second. Mood board exercise. Real nice, my guy. Thank you. So, what I was saying? Oh yeah, like for the mood board, like try to think about that, like pull for mood. You know, it's a mood board, not graphic resolution board. You know, it's mood board, not like graphic resolution things we're going to copy board. You know, there is this fashion designer. How was this guy? The gothic dude, the one that like it's all drape and avant-garde and really dark. Rick Owens says something that I think he says something like he does a mood board, but he only looks at the mood board once, because if you can consult every time with the mood board, then it becomes like a little trap, you know what I mean? In a future video, I'm going to show you like the mood board that I gave and received for the keycap sets. And you can see how the mood board is really different to the final piece, but the feeling is kind of the same. You know what I mean? Like the mood board it's like that, it's in the fucking word, you know what I mean? It's mood board, you know, it's the mood, what's the vibe, not necessarily I want it to look like this, you know? I want it to feel like this, right? But you can have things that feel the same, but are not necessarily look the same. Bro is coming up with really heavy questions, you know what I mean? Like, that's another thing about inspiration. Like, can an idea ever be truly original as you base everything off of something else? No, nothing is really original. Like the core idea is like we are going back to the myth thing, right? We are saying for your work that you need to do for uni, like these stories and these tales like go back really time, and they are just iterations of another, right? They're just iterative, right? And that's the best we can hope for, you know? Yeah, you cannot dream about something you don't know. Yeah, that's completely. I think once you let go of this idea of trying to do something original in the same of new, then your work, like, you get a lot of liberation out of it, right? Because it's not like, and I guess this is a sort of an issue because of the culture, right? This individualistic drive to say like, I made something original, right? I changed things, you know? And it's more like you're being a part of a conversation that's history, you know? Like, maybe I didn't make, there is nothing particularly new about the subjects that I talk in the streams or in my work or the way that I use images, right? At the core of it, there is nothing particularly new in it, but I hope that with enough time, there is something new that will arise from the combination of these things, right? That make my body of work, right? And that specific combination, that design syndrome, maybe that hasn't been done before, but that doesn't mean that the pieces by themselves are not new, you know? So I feel that that's that we should do, not aim to do something new because it's impossible, but also like try to think more in terms of what can you add to the conversation that's uniquely yours, you know what I mean? That's the originality, that's where it comes from. Like, what can you add to the historical conversation of design, of art, you know? It's like and someone will grab what you did and will do something new out of it, and it's gonna be derivative of that. So think of that. What building block can you leave for those that will come after us, you know what I mean? And what can you do with the building blocks that others led before us? So that's, I think, the answer. Like, nothing new can come, but everything old must die so you can make something, you know, I don't forget about it if it's new or not. Like, that's counterproductive, but just add anything that's from you, you know, be it a color palette, whatever, you know. Yeah, that's what I can say about that. Okay, let's go back to my guy with the deep questions, you know what I mean? Sorry. Here. So this one is from let me go here to Dojo feedback. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this video. Oh my guys, also wanted to talk about the Gaza piece that we did on the Discord. I'm really proud about you, my guys. I don't know if I want to talk on this particular stream because it hurts the channel quite a lot, but I think it's important. Like, I call you all everything to everyone to try to make something about Gaza, about what's going on with the people of Palestine. Yeah, and everyone came in clutch. I said also like you should share the piece on social media. I made mine and shared it, and I think it's important. Like, all this training that we're doing, all these exercises, like, it ends being for nothing if the final destination for this, it's an Adidas ad. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the reasons, and take this as you will. This is one of the reasons why I stopped doing. I used to do a lot of branding, a lot of logos and stuff like that, and I stopped because it's not like a stop. If a nice brand comes my way and say, hey, we want to do this, and if I fuck with the brand, I'll do it, you know. But I was feeling really discouraged because it's like all this is being pushed for the consumption of goods and services, you know what I mean? And I don't know, there was something that was kind of fucked up about that. I guess also it's like this idea of also like maybe people come to you for a logo and maybe a logo is not what they need, you know. Someone goes to a designer because they want a logo, because they imagine in their heads that a logo is gonna make their brands better, they're gonna earn more money, and there is a lot of thinking that goes into the branding, into the strategy, and then the logo can be almost whatever, you know what I mean? So I thought that also was a bit discouraging. So when I started to do design syndrome stuff, and also the assets, you know, and after the assets, I gained some more freedom to do other stuff, that what I'm doing, the Design Dojo, that this is free, you know what I mean? That's because I have the freedom from the money from the assets. Then other kind of client work that I really like, you know, the work that I did with the guys from Creator Camp. I'm doing some really nice cover art, the keyboard stuff, you know what I mean? Those are things that are more connected to me, and that maybe have not so much to do with serving a super big brand that's gonna add to this noise. You know what I mean? There are things that are really vibe with me, you know. So I guess it's nice also to find the outlets we can to, where when something is happening in the world, like put our like expertise with images for that. And I'm not talking about activism, you know what I mean? What I'm talking about is not doing nothing, you know what I mean? Like not nothing. It's a pretty low bar, you know what I mean? And when things like this happen that are really outrageous and really like it feels kind of wrong, you know, at least for me, you know, there is a lot going on in the world, and you can't speak up about everything, because also you need to know about the specific subjects to make it really respectful, but do it respectfully and mindfully, not just like following the herd, you know what I mean, in any given topic. But I felt like this specific topic about what was going on with these people, I think it's really black and white, right? I spent, apart from what I knew, I spent a couple more days reading on this subject, and it's really black and white. Like that's what also one of the reasons that I was inclined to do this, you know, and putting all the community like sort of let's do this, because it's really black and white. Like institutions took a stand, political global institutions took a stand. And as they did, for example, with Ukraine, they came on the radar real quick to support, because the political enemy was really clear that was in favor of a specific nation. You know what I mean? And then here it flips, the script flips, and then you realize that it's not about defending any given nation. It's about empowering and following a specific agenda, right? I'm not particularly anti-war, right? Because I think that war is something that we've been doing for ages, and big boy countries are gonna do war, right? And not just war like bombs, you know, like informatic war. We're in the middle of it with social media and all of that. Like we're in the crux of it, right? But also war. I think big boy countries wanna do that because the whatever geopolitical matter is at stake. Then let them do that. They can't. It's a matter of the people that are inhabitants of those places and the representatives that they elect, you know what I mean? But this is different, because this is people that don't have no one to back them up, and everyone looks to the other side, right? And I think when it's something that crucial happens, and I'm now talking specifically about us as designers and artists, right? People that have certain sensibility, and we can't like put aside a second to make something, and at least use our skill for something that needs to be spoken about, and it's related to our own humanity. Then what's the point? You know what I mean? Like literally, what's the point? Like what's the difference between being a designer and I don't know, doing accounting for a big brand? Like what's the brand? What's the point of the sensibility of what's the point of anything, you know, any effort we put into the arts? Like what's the point? One word for the underdog. Oh, I don't understand what you were saying, my guy. Yeah. I don't know if it's a matter of the underdog. Like, it's not an even underdog, you know what I mean? It's like completely different leagues. It's but yeah, I don't want to get into that for this stream, because like I was saying, I can't even like do a lot of this, because it does hurt the channel, you know. I lost a lot of followers and stuff from the Gaza thing, and that's a really puny and fucked up thing to think about, but I do have to think about it, you know what I mean? Because it's my livelihood. But again, I think it matters. Let's just go back to it, you know. At least put the stakes and the energy of the community and do something like that. I think it was really cool that everyone like sort of came through to do a piece about the Gaza people. one word we defend the weaker one and the other one. And no, it's like that's the thing. Like, is I don't think that's where everyone stands, you know. But Ukraine wasn't really the weak one, right? They got the U.S. backing and the NATO backing, like just like that, you know what I mean? So, and in the other way around, when it comes to Israel, and it's the same when they are the one like doing the pushing. So, what about that? You know what I mean? Like, what does it say about the way these international organizations are set up, you know? I don't hear. I told you this, like the other streams that we were talking about, the protest poster stream. This book, my guys, like this book, I have it already, and the Black Codex, which is my book recommendation list. This book, like, read this book. It's about economy. It's about the way the current global system is set up. It's not a communist book that someone recommended this to me, and when the book started, it was like, oh, this is a communist shield book, you know what I mean? And it's not at all like that. It's a really nice book that really lays it out really clear, you know what I mean? And it actually links a lot with what happened, right? And what's happening all over the place, right? So if you can give it a read, it's a really amazing book. And actually, I'm trying to work on a series. I'm not gonna say it, I'm just gonna do it, because every time I always do that, like, oh, I want this, a nice idea, but and I never do it. Fuck that. True, this is about art, and I hear you, but people are sensitive about those things. I was talking at a bar with one person. We was talking about this, and it's a shame that really always the conversation like turns to that, you know, like, yeah, but it's super complex, we shouldn't talk about it. I know, but you know what I mean? Like, that's really uncompromised. And I guess we do it to avoid the confrontation, and I guess I do resort to that through a long period, you know, because you try to protect your energy, but these people are getting like bombed, you know, like, what about their energy? You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. If you can, we can even like put up with the uncomfortably, like the uncomfort of just trying to see what's happening, like get into the history just a little bit to see what's happening. So you don't have to say while you're having a beer, like, it's complex because you're sensitive to it while people are getting bombed shelled. You know, that's crazy to me. That sitting here, you know, with all the safety and all the feeling of everything's all right, and knowing that people are going through that, and saying that you're not able to pick up a book, read an article, you know, watch the video at least, because I've heard that a lot, like, you just scroll through the video, you don't want to see it because it makes you feel bad. Fuck that, you know what I mean? And again, guys, I'm not coming from a place of moral grandstanding of saying, oh, we all need to be activists, because fuck that, I also need to have a life to take care of, and that I deem, with all shame and with whatever, I deem more important than what's happening in other places of the world, you know what I mean? Because that's what it is. If that weren't the case, I would be a full-blown activist, you know what I mean? I'm just saying of raising just a little bit the bar of caring, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we have these really loud voices, you know, that got us to retract, you know, like, it made us feel like if you are not all in for the fight, that then you shouldn't speak, right? And I don't know if I fuck with that. I rather have all be involved by do what you can. You can do a poster, do a poster. I don't know, I probably could do more, but all I'm willing to do is a poster, so I'll make the poster, you know what I mean? I make the Design Dojo assignment so everyone can make a poster. I'll share some links and make some small donations. I can do that, you know what I mean? What else can you do? Like, read a book, read an article, whatever it is to be more informed. So when someone says it's too difficult to get into the topic, you come in with, it's actually not that difficult because of and that's commitment, and that's actually being an artist, you know what I mean? Like, being able to navigate the contradiction and those impulses that we have from within to hide and to shrink, you know, but also to see what the fuck's happening, you know what I mean? Sorry, my guys. But yeah, going back to the assignments. But I really like talking to you guys. Let me know if I'm ranting or if I'm saying like whatever. Or something that doesn't make sense to you all. Okay. Back to the Discord. So, okay, we have someone, it's Emmanuel here. I saw him comment because I'm gonna react first to the Ambu operatives, which are the Patreons, that one that support me through the Patreon to keep the Design Dojo going. So I'm gonna give him a bit of priority here. These are from him, I remember. I'm gonna add just a bit of contrast by doing a levels. And actually I'm gonna put like hue and saturation like that. Okay, these are really nice. One thing, these are really nice, but you can see that the weight distribution, and I like that he really took it. I'm actually gonna take this off, but because it's bothering me, I'd rather see them like this. Because you can see these grays of text a bit better. I like that he tried different things. I like that he listen and fixing my car. Let's go. Yeah, I'm talking about your piece, my guy. Yeah, I like that, for example, here that he broke it down, but you left a lot of the pieces like untouched. Like it would be nice to break them down even further to try to compose further with them. For example, this one, it has like a really nice hierarchy. Let me check that. For example, here in this one, we can see yeah, like here we have like a really nice entry point, you know, for the piece. Then we have like the other little hierarchies. Like it's really cool. Like it's really clear how to read the piece right here also. Then it trickles down, right? These other really nice hierarchy levels. Here, for example, we start to have some weird kind of stuff because like my eye tells me to enter the piece like here because we have this really nice shape, but then here also like it creates like another focal point that makes me kind of go there. And also we have like all of this vertical, right? And then this one seems a bit odd in this particular piece. You know what I mean? Here we have a bit of competing like similar hierarchies that is not really clear where we should enter the piece, right? This one's nice. I would add to all the pieces a bit more hierarchy. You know what I mean? A bit more detail, I would add. This one's great. It has like a really nice flow because you enter the piece through here and it has like a really nice like composition, you know? And these are things that you are not planning for. You sort of follow your intuition and it arises, you know what I mean? it starts to happen. You put the first, that's nice about the typographic collage. You put the same couple of words of cutouts, and then you'll see what the piece is lacking, you know what I mean? This one's nice. I like that it has this entry point here, and then you sort of do this. But yeah, I would add maybe like, sorry, I'm trying to see in which one are we. Oh, sorry. This goes there. What am I doing wrong? Oh, this go here, sorry. There. You see, for example, this one, let me try. I'm just doing it really ghetto, really fast to try to establish some sort of composition that's a bit you know, and this way in this way, for example, we have like a more clear like focal point, right? And then the piece like sort of trickles down from there, you know what I mean? But I think of it like that, have a really clear place of contrast in which it gives character to the piece, you know? It's like, okay, this piece is about this. And also think about, I think this is not the best system to show this, but it has like a two different kind of pieces. Like it has pieces sort of like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, right? And then it has other pieces like this one, this one, this one, and this one, right? These are the archetype of pages like that he has, like someone that's a bit more populated page, right? That has like a really hard grid and it's really structured. And then he has like, for example, this one, it's also like this one. And also like this one here, you know, which follows like the same like structure, right? And it's nice for the typographic sketch to try to think like different when you're making the piece, you know, get granular, get really cut every word and start like really making those tiny changes and making those really like small hierarchy levels. So that's nice. to this one. This one's really nice. Oh, my throat is hurting already of talking. But yeah, these are really nice spreads. But you see, it's really nice to have that clarity of where you should enter the piece. You know? And then you have the other smaller elements, right? Think of it like that. Try to visualize your pieces in terms of the blocks, right? And the attention they command, right? Really nice use of the grid here. The alignment also here. Textbook, it works. You hear this line, how it goes here. Oh, it would be nice to align this here. But it works. Here also really nice. What I really like about this piece is like you can see a clear decision of I'm gonna put everything here, right? This is the big chunk, and then a lone like column here with all this negative space. Like that seems like a, and with this little thing here, like it looks like a decision. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to explain, because if he suddenly placed other column here or something here, like it already takes away from that intentionality of the page, right? It loses a lot of impact. Maybe something here would add a bit of balance, but I like it, and I talk about it. I need to talk about more of the system, and we'll go back to that. For example, but all the pieces, if you look them from a glance, everything is taking up kind of the same space, you know. Every piece it's covering like the entire thing, you know what I mean? Like this system would have benefited for having some pieces that let everything breathe. Something like this maybe, but even more, you know, like let it breathe more, like make something really small in the middle. That's when you make 10, see in which ways you can sort of change it up a little bit and make something that's a new composition, you know, try something new. I think there are gradual increments, you know. For example, this one, it has like all the really big words, right? This one maybe doesn't have like a clear place to enter the piece, but it's a decision, you know. Here it looks like a decision. It looks like I'm gonna make everything scream, right? So that's why in this case, in this case in particular, maybe it's not wrong, you know, because it looks intentional. It looks like I'm gonna put all these words here, and they are gonna compete, and that's the vibe of the poster, you know what I mean? What I'm saying, this is kind of the same, you know. The weights are a bit repetitive, but it has like this kind of rhythm, you know, this repetition of these lines, which is really nice. You know, it doesn't have like this clear, it's creating some sort of a pattern, you know, which is interesting. But again, it's interesting when you see it in the context of all the pieces, you know. Maybe this piece by itself could be a bit boring, maybe, I don't know. I kind of like this piece, so for some reason it has like, again, like that really nice rhythm, but because I think it has like simple hierarchies that go well together, you know. It has few hierarchies, but they are well placed, you know. This one here starts to lose me a bit, right? This competes a bit with this, and I don't know if it's supporting it or not. I like these columns here, but I guess it would have been nice if you broke them even further and added other supporting elements, maybe here, right? Maybe another something here would be cool. Maybe one of these columns that you have here to one of the cells, you add something around here, right? Think that every time you get like a nice constant in a line or in a list or these kind of systems work a lot with constant and variables, you know, like these columns here with these like annotations, these are all a constant because they are all designed the same, right? But maybe here where is the 20, maybe this one for some reason is more important than the rest. So this has like an image here or something that makes it stand out, right? So you have the constant of the list and you break it with a variable, right? And all your design systems gonna have that, constant and variables. So a constant within this system could be that it's really orthogonal, you know what I mean? It has a lot of crossing words, right, with not so much of a contrasting hierarchies. So every hierarchy level is kind of similar to the one that comes next, you know what I mean? This one, it's a bit out from the rule, but I guess he was playing and then started to become more comfortable. You can sort of see that, right? There are pieces that are a bit more shy, like this one. Maybe he started with this, then he did this one. Sorry, he did this one was the first one, you know, and then he did this one, then the third with this one, fourth, this is the 5, 6, 7, right? And he ended up with this one, with these two, or maybe this one was before, but you can see it as it was like loosening himself, you know. Oh, the camera. Sorry guys, it died on me. One second guys, I'm gonna change the battery of the camera. Hi guys, we're back. We're back? There we are. Sorry. Let me know if you want clarification on something, if I'm going a bit fast. So yeah, this one is really nice. It's the one that goes a bit out the rule, right? It has this really nice like contrast in the sizes of the words, right? It breaks down. Some really nice composition here. And guys, one thing is that I don't want you to like think that this is like an overthinking thing. It's actually the contrary, right? Maybe you can start a collage by placing a word somewhere. Maybe here I start with this, right? After this I say, oh, it would be nice to have something here to sort of trickle down of this nice value. And actually what I was about to say is like something like this. Oh, it would be nice, like this word here on the top, it's big, but it would be really nice to have something really big on the bottom of the page and make that the contrasting thing. And he did that, you know, like this entire thing, like it sort of balances that. If I would have started from there, you know what I mean? And then from here, like, oh, okay, here is what I maybe have done something different. Like from here, like say, okay, I have these two things, I need something to sort of like link it together, right? So maybe there is something here with a nice column like that goes here, and add some other text here, another here. Maybe this piece of text that we have here, I bring in more here so it aligns with this vertical that I have here. And yeah, maybe I would have something like that, but you can see it's not something that I was thinking from the beginning. It's more like you do something and then you react with another thing, and then you start to build it, you know. It's not that you start from the beginning with the oh, I can see it in my mind, you know. And yeah, these ones are nice. This one is actually the most like classic that you would see on university, you know. It's really textbook Swiss design. I love it, you know what I mean. But already the pieces of text were really heavily designed, but this is a really nice like curation of how to use them. So yeah, that was cool. Here we have, this one's nice because it's similar to the other one, but in reverse. Like all pieces are kind of the same, like kind of the same like idea, you know, of composing in these sets of hierarchies, you know. These are all really beautiful, but you can say like maybe this, sorry. You could say like all these pieces are one set, they look a similar way, and these two are other set. You see what I mean? How they look like similar in a way. But yeah, other than that, individually they are really great. But think about that, like individually in each piece, that it needs to have like a nice entry point, and then the way the hierarchies play off each other, so it's really clear where you enter the piece, right, and how it's supposed to be read, right? That contrast between what's important and what's supporting what's important. Check out the alignments, right? If your alignments are intersecting in a way, right, the major alignments of your piece, if they are intersecting in a place that, okay, in this point, what can I add to add weight, to add intersection, you know what I mean? Not that you need to add weight in every crossing line, you know, but to start to think of, okay, where is the piece going in terms of its direction, and if it makes sense to add complexity that supports that direction, you know what I mean? There is not one size fits all that, oh, every time I get like a vertical line and a horizontal line, I need to put hierarchy levels there. That's not what I'm saying. Like this is not like a formulaic thing. Like the formulaic thing that I can tell you is like put big things with medium things, with small things, with smaller things to add that contrast, right? That's the formulaic thing, I guess. But yeah, these are great. Okay, this one's nice because they are really different, right? You can see different compositions. Maybe these two are kind of similar because they are like big text and small text on the contrary side. This one kind of the same. Actually, they are pretty the same. I'm joking. But this one I like, right? This like homogeneous hierarchy levels with the pattern like sort of in the back. Like in this case, it looks like a decision. You know what I mean? Here, for example, this sort of competes with this and competes with this. You can see how the weights are kind of similar. So what's the difference between this and this, right? Why this is kind of wrong and this is cool, right? Like individually, if I grab this, individually, if I grab this, I kind of like it. You see? That's fire, right? Because in here, like we have this really nice weight here, and then really small, you know what I mean? But like this, it doesn't function the same, you know. That's why context like matters, right? This works, this doesn't work that much, you know. In this case, it's maybe kind of hard to separate it, you know, each individual piece. So there is something about this texture that that it generates with the equal spacing between all the letters that makes it look like a pattern, and that makes it a bit more intentional. You know what I mean? Maybe if this S was around here and this D was here, maybe it would be a bit unconnected. But as it is now, it stands like controlled, you know, like it's meant to be like that. And that's a hierarchy level in and of itself, you know. This one's nice, a bit shy in my opinion, but it works. But he just made a few cuts and pasted with nice clarity for the hierarchy levels. It works. These are mine, and you can see in mine that this is what I really wanted to drive home, you know, like in each piece I tried definitely something different for each piece, right? And this one I treated it like a spread. Oh, sorry. Like this is a spread, you know. This is a spread, and it works like a spread, right? You have like a full page on the left with some small details and something a bit more shy to the right, so it doesn't compete. So this doesn't compete with this, which is the important thing, right? So you have some nice values here, some repetition. You see the variables and constant that I was talking before. When you have like a spread page, there are some rules that you need to keep so it reads like a spread. You know, for example, this real annotation here, which is in both pages. This also text here, which is in both pages. It actually helps to tell that this is a spread, because there are some systematic things that need to repeat in all pages where the numbers are. Imagine a book where all the numbers for each page are in different places. It could be odd. It could work as a design decision, but then it becomes like a constant, you know what I mean? But again, that's the concept that I want you to think about. Not that there is any peculiar way of resolving it, which is right, which is wrong, but to think of the decision, right? If this is supposed to be the same or not. Again, these ones I fucked them up with the editing, but that was intended because I wanted to make them different. I was feeling that maybe this one felt a little bit like this one, right? This one was a bit maybe alike to that one, so I wanted to really change it, so I did with texture. You know what I mean? I really blow it up so it works, you know, but that was kind of the goal. And you see here that I got really inside the text and really broke it apart, right? And you can see the decision of I'm gonna make like a real neat typographic arrangement here with all this negative space. And then I'm gonna build something really small here to sort of balance out that negative space, right? It looks like a decision. That's the key part of this exercise. And that's the key part of design in general, you know what I mean? Like when you see those Mike Mignola things that we were saying, right? When we're looking at this, let me see if I found one that is crazy. That you can see this really much. You can see them in almost all pages, you know what I mean? For example, this. You see the Hellboy there? There is a clear decision of using that entire negative space with the Hellboy kind of like in the middle of it, with all this negative space like in the top of it, you see? That's a decision. And it looks like it was decided, you know? It doesn't... I don't know if maybe when I say that, it's kind of abstract, you know what I mean? But like it looks intentional, that's what I'm trying to say, you know? If we go back to this one, again, this is kind of the same. I wanted to have like this, I wanted to break the grid for one, so I wanted to, okay, I'm gonna establish some elements that are gonna say like this is like a box, you know what I mean? So we have this alignment here, this alignment here. I needed to add, I added this little block of text here, so you can read the, like sort of the box. And then I'm gonna add anything, something here to really Uy, sorry. I'm gonna add something here to really break it apart, you know, and really have this like diagonal lines, you know. But that's the key. It looks intentional, you know. I wanted to have that, so the elements kind of support that. And in this one, I really make it really dark because I felt like everything was sort of really neat and tidy. So I really made this. This one is sort of off topic. I kind of cheated in the exercise here, but I guess it goes to show just for you to have that way of looking at it, you know, of trying to try something different for each piece, you know. This is not necessarily a systematic exercise. It's just a way to, okay, each page, try to come up with something new, but from the aesthetics of the composition, you know what I mean? Like, what can you do with text? What can you do with this kind of type thing, you know? Here we have another one. This one also tried. This one is cool. This one is cool because I don't see that they are kind of the same, you know what I mean? Every page has something for it. He's also the only one that's tried this, you know. You can see that my guy, tried to do something, you know. He just grabbed the text and cut it open, you know. He just sliced it. Boom, 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 boom. Right? He made the triangles. I could say that maybe they are too similar size. It would be nice to maybe have like something like this, you know, like boom, something like that, and then maybe some smaller triangles, you know. So you play with that composition and you take it really to the extreme, because everything with these triangles, everything is sort of a bit competing, you know. All the sizes are maybe this here, but you can see how everything is a bit homogeneous, you know what I mean, and not in a way that looks planned, you know. In this one, you see that nice balance that I'm saying. Like this one looks a bit more homogeneous in the sense that you don't have that much contrast, but it looks like an index. It looks like a consultation page, you know what I mean. Like, it looks planned, it looks like it's controlled, so like my brain is not firing in any wrongly way, you know what I mean. Like, I like this sort of in the context of the other pieces that he did. Like this one, I think it's really great also. It's like boom, boom, consultation, 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 nice here, some nice levels there. I like this. It looks like some weird magazine, right? This one again, he tried something new, some nice hierarchy level here with the lines, right? This is nice. It could be done a bit better, I feel like, but what I'm trying to say is that he tried different things for different pages, right? Here the everything it's a bit spread out and I don't see like a clear entry, and it looks like here you try something, here you try something different, here it's like a division on the page, here you tried something different, you know what I mean. If this is a similar piece to you see, this looks one piece, like one piece, this could be another piece. You know, this looks like another piece, right? This one I like because it's what I was saying, like it looks like decisive, you know. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's really shy, but it looks decisive. It looks like he meant it to be this way, right? I like this one. This one again is maybe a bit all over the place. Everything is competing in a maybe not like too cool of a way, you know. But I don't know, it has some elements that I feel it works like in the context of the entire thing. Like, for example, if you had like this, let me do it with a group. For example, you can see the group as it is now, but if I grab these two and these two are spread, you can see it kind of works, you know. So that's important also when you're doing design work, like to edit. Like, there is not so much also like, there is the work that you made, but you can also edit your work, right? Sometimes when you take something out, all this suddenly it clicks, you know, because the rhythm of your work, it's already baked in it, and maybe in some part of it you overdid it, right? And that's hard to see. Sometimes you need to take away things from it, and all of a sudden it works, like as if you have added something, you know. It's really odd like that. I'm not a master at that by no stretch of the imagination. But in these kinds of pieces, when you have 10 pieces to look at it, and then all of a sudden you take out 8, and the work becomes more focused and more constrained, right? You can see, for example, like all these 10 pieces maybe don't work as much, but I grab these 3 and it looks better. The 3 look better, right? Maybe these 2, they don't look as good. They look better in the context of the 10 pieces, you know what I mean? So design is like that. It's a lot about editing. So yeah, there we are with the pieces, my guy. There we are with the pieces. So yeah, that was it for this feedback stream, my guys. We took a bit more time. It's nice to do it like this because I can take a bit more time with the feedback, and I am not that tired to jump into my piece. You know what I mean? But yeah, let me know, guys, if you have any other questions. If not, I'm gonna be wrapping it up. I need to think about what's gonna be the next exercise. I'm not really sure. I need to record a video on packaging. It's for a sponsor, but it's a really cool one. It's actually the first sponsor that I'm gonna have on my channel, but it's a really cool one, right? I let slip a lot of other because they were really shit, like pages. I have a bunch of AI slop pages that talk to me to make like a video for their whatever large language model bullshit, whatever. But this one is really great. It's not AI. It uses AI for some things, but it's a packaging thing. It's really great. And yeah, it's a really problem solver, but it's really good. Gonna be a good one. I'm thinking about the concept for the video. But yeah, I have also a lot of videos that I need to do because I'm trying to figure out what's the proper way of doing these streams and actually editing them so you get like a nice video out of it, you know. Because they are forever, you know. That's one of the cool things of the content in these videos, that once you put the work in them, and this is forever actually, like for every kind of work, like once it's online it lives like forever, you know. So you work on it hard one time and then it stays there. So yeah, so my guys, hope you liked it. If you don't have any further questions, I'm gonna be wrapping it up. We talked some nice topics today. I really liked it. Was really nice hanging with you all. So that's it, my guys. If you don't have any more questions, hope the feedback was good to you, and go by the Discord and really try to like print this out, and when you're on a slope or anything, try the collage type. Try the typographic collage, like please listen to me. This is a really nice exercise. And yeah, if you're struggling with type, like make 100 of this. It's like hyperbolic time chamber for designers. Like do 100 of this, and I kid you not, you'll be good. You'll be half good at setting type. Like I'm putting my hands on the line for this, like for sure. You do 100 of this, you're good with type, half good with type. You know what I mean? You do 1,000 of this, you're a pro typographer. But yeah, my guys, give it a go and enjoy the struggle, enjoy the suffering. You know what I mean? Let's go, bro. So yeah, that was it, my guys. Hope to see you on the next one. And you already know how it is. Fuck peace. Wish you conflict. Peace.